This week on Talking Pictures with Neil Rosen, we'll look at the new comedy whodunit, Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, the new dark satire/twisted horror foodie film, The Menu, the new tragic comedy, The Banshees of Inisherin, set in Ireland and starring Colin Farrell, and Empire of Light with Olivia Colman. Plus, our picks for the best movies of the year. We've got all that and many more movie picks coming up. Hey everybody, I'm Neil Rosen and welcome to Talking Pictures. It's our monthly Critic Roundtable show where we debate what's worth watching and what's not when it comes to new releases, hidden gems, and Hollywood classics. Joining me today are Bill McCuddy from Gold Derby. Hey there, Bill.
Neil, you look great, but you're sitting a long way away from me. So.
Oh, well, we're social distancing. Lisa Roston from Signs and Sirens is here.
Hey, doll.
Hey, Lisa, and welcome back to the show after an absence of a few months. How you doing? Justine Browning is here from Entertainment Weekly. Hello, Justine. Hello. Okay, let's get started with a look at several new films and limited series in theaters and or streaming, beginning with The Menu, about a group of wealthy diners at an exclusive gourmet restaurant located on a remote island. Let's take a look at a clip.
I'm Julian Slowick, and tonight it'll be our pleasure to feed you. Over the next few hours, you will ingest fat, salt, sugar, protein, bacteria, fungi, various plants and animals, and at times entire ecosystems. But I have to beg of you one thing. It's just one. Do not eat. Taste.
Bill, tell us all about The Menu.
Well, as you can tell from that scene, this is social satire that skewers the 1%, and in this case, literally, we have a bunch of people who have been invited, as we know, to this island, led by a couple, Queen's Gambit's Anya Taylor-Joy and grown-up about-a-boy Nicholas Hoult, who've come to this pricey but impossible to get into island restaurant run by, yes, chef, Ralph Fiennes. Every time they say his name, he has to.
Rafe.
What I like about this film is that it goes for it. It's an incredibly well done little comedy, black comedy, with great supporting roles by Janet McTeer, who we never see anymore, Judith Light, and John Leguizamo. This is so much better than Triangle of Sadness, produced by Will Ferrell and Adam McKay. It's an amuse-bouche, and it makes my top 10 list this year.
Justine.
Yeah, this is feeling very meta right now because I think you could substitute any industry within this story and really get the same cultural commentary that's being served up here. We have a lot said about the relationship between those who create and those who consume, and the creation of content and the way in which the artist crafting something so special and delicate is sometimes chewed up and spit out, right, without any regard.
Unintended.
Exactly, I can't help it. Ray Fiennes is really chewing the scenery here. I can't help it. But really, ultimately, what it has to say about the cult of personality and elitism, and again, the way the atmosphere plays into this story is so incredibly entertaining.
Well, I don't know why Bill had a trash Triangle of Sadness, which is so good, but this is
better.
This is better. This is my kind of class warfare story, and y'all know I love class warfare stories. It is clever and it's bloodthirsty, and I just love how it keeps one-upping its own game. And you know what? I'm with you. I love how these ridiculously talented actors are chewing this scenery as well as this weird-ass food. And I love that it doesn't flinch at the end. I mean, it maintains this flow, and you keep on thinking, how is it going to end?
Yep.
And woo! You're going to love the ending.
It's a scathing social satire.
Amazing.
Listen, all of us at some point in our lives have gone to one of these fancy schmancy restaurants where they tell you before they serve the meal, you know, the pork is infused with a lima bean broth that was, you know, fermented for 2 weeks and then set in an orange reduction from the Alps.
That actually sounds good.
And
Very
you know,
specific,
they
Neil.
do this
My mouth's watering.
times
I'm in.
times 10 in this, and I'm watching this and I'm going, yeah, this is such nonsense. But it's hilarious. I
Will
mean,
this be in your top 10 list?
this is definitely on
I love
near the
this
top of my top 10
Oh,
list.
good.
And
All right.
it's a delicious social satire, if I could use a pun. And
I'm sure you've got a
all
few more.
have-
shocking violence when it turns into like a horror film. The whole thing is just So well done. And the
Well, by
wealthy,
all means,
highly,
give it away as much as you
Yeah,
can.
tell everything that's happening.
well, the highly wealthy guests at the end get their just desserts. If you wanted another.
oh, there
No,
we are.
I couldn't
Bring it
recommend.
home.
I couldn't recommend this enough. And anyway, moving on, Justine, tell us about a movie called Women Talking.
Yeah, well, this is from actress turned director Sarah Polley. It's her return to filmmaking after a 10-year absence. And what a return it is. This centers on a conservative religious colony where women begin to realize that they're being drugged and brutally sexually assaulted. The film really focuses on the question of what it is that they are to do once they discover this information. Claire Foy is in this, Rooney Mara, Frances McDormand has a small role. It asks a lot of questions. It tries to get to the root of this issue versus just condemning it. I found that a piece of this that ended up being quite moving is Ben Wenshaw as someone who's transcribing the testimony.
Ben Wenshaw was terrific in this. He was just really, I mean, the only male in the movie with any part.
Yeah, let's talk about how the guy in the movie is good in a cast of all women. By all means,
All the-
Neil,
all
I'm just saying, by all means, emphasize the one male in terms of all the women.
My
who
point
could work
is
in
that they
this.
have
Good
to
point.
speak through him. They have to rely on the male gaze, the male filter, because they aren't taught to read and write. And
Neil
there
knows
is-
all about the male gaze.
there is this very moving connection he has to Rooney Mara's character, but it really just shows their limitation in telling their own story here.
Yes. Before I go to you, Lisa, all the women were extraordinary in the film. All of them. They were extraordinary. Yes, go on.
Yeah, that makes you a good feminist. Okay, honestly, I am so done with these stories of women and extreme patriarchy, whether it's set in the past or a dystopic future or an Amish-style cult. I feel like there's this implication that they have to tell a story that extreme to show us how bad sexism is, whereas right now, all you have to do is watch the news in 2022 America, and then you get the picture that women are second-class citizens who do not have control over their bodies or their lives. I have great respect for Sarah Polley, I always have, and I theoretically love the idea of an all-female cast, but this is a dire, drab film full of great women
Wow.
actors who seem nearly as hamstrung as the women that they are portraying.
It's also extremely stagey. I mean, it's in this hayloft.
Well, it could have been a play.
Yeah, it could have been, maybe
I'm so
should be a
done.
play. I mean, I look, and also, to take nothing away from what Sarah Polley is trying to do here, these people don't read or write, but they're some of the most articulate spokespeople that you've ever heard
that's
talking
true.
about anything.
That's true.
Whatever topic comes up, and the guy has to write it all down like he's the secretary and explain some of the
Well,
things
that
to
part's
them
okay.
about
I'm
what
okay
they're
with him being the secretary.
I'll make a note of that.
You would be.
Anyway, look, this isn't as good as it could be, and that's what's frustrating about it. Also, Frances McDormand is comes on at the beginning, at the end, almost like Rod Serling in a Twilight Zone episode. Wanted more of her, so I'm a little disappointed in this
I'm
overall.
a lot disappointed.
Well, I actually like the film. I agree with you, that it is stagey, but, it's Christian belief versus women empowerment. And within this community, that's not an easy decision that these women have to make. And, there's a time reveal element, which I'm not going to give away, that happens in this film that I wish I didn't know before I went into the film.
I wish that had happened at the end. It would have been far more interesting than.
Yeah, I don't want to give it away, but it's something where if I hadn't known that going in, I would have gone like, oh my God. That said, I think that the performances are so extraordinary. I mean, you make some very good points about the fact that they're so well spoken, yet they don't read and write.
Based on a true story
Yeah,
that
but
happened.
it is a true story that
right?
happened in Bolivia. That's the whole thing. This actually happened.
I wish you had been in Bolivia. That would have been
And,
in a
these
Mennonite
stories aren't.
community.
And it wouldn't have been all white women.
Just because it's true doesn't mean it's always good.
I don't know. I thought that, I thought it was well done. Next up is the new film called Empire of Light, and Lisa Rossman is going to tell us about it.
Well, this is the latest from Oscar-winning American Beauty director Sam Mendes, and it's ostensibly about lonely, libidinous people who work at a movie house in 1980s seaside British town. Really, though, it's like a cynic created a formula of how to appeal to older Academy Award voters' sensibilities, and then it made a movie that checked off every one of those boxes. It's set in the past, check. It's a movie about movies, check. It offers sweeping visuals. It stars award-winning Brits like Toby Jones and Colin Farrell and Olivia Colman. It offers a nostalgia-heavy anthemic soundtrack. It touches upon hot-button issues like racism, middle age, sexism, and mental illness without digging into any of them.
I agree.
Check,
I agree.
check. Honestly, I am always, you guys know this, inclined to a movie that centers the struggles and sexual desire of a middle-aged woman, and that is what it's doing with Olivia Colman. But This is the sort of prestige film that is unworthy of the good work that the actors and craftspeople put into
Yeah,
it.
there's too much. It's a mess.
There's a
It's all
hodgepodge
over the
of-
place.
yeah.
There's 5 movies in here.
This
If you
is-
focused on one of them, okay, but it is too many things going on.
is a cynical
Interracial
endeavor.
romance, racism, mental illness. Exactly.
All right, calm
what you're
down, Neil.
saying.
The doctor says the show is getting
You are
a little
literally
too
making
excited
all
right
the
now.
points I just
I'm-
I'll
made.
tell you the other
reiterating your
thing is
points.
it's boring for the first hour until
Yeah.
Olivia Colman goes off her meds and then gets up at Chariots
That's
of Fire and
stagey.
makes a great
That's a
speech. and-
stagey,
well,
overwritten
but
scene.
Totally.
I'm going to tell you right now,
Totally.
she's going to get nominated.
And
whether
she's
you like
not
the
gonna
movie or
win.
not.
This is not her year. She's
I
not
think
gonna
Kate
win.
Blanchett has got some competition
And-
now.
and
I
so does
don't like the movie, and I want to know why all the directors this year have decided that their life turning around in the mid whenever they grew up, whether it's Steven Spielberg or James Gray or any of these.
Yeah, they think their
people.
lives are a lot more interesting than the
they're-
audience
they're-
thinks that they
They're
are.
not. They're
That's
not.
true.
And also, I
That's
mean, it's a
true.
little offensive that the only reason she's interesting is because she stops taking her lithium. I think this is a well-intentioned film.
I don't
It
agree.
looks good in places, and I think she gives a good performance, but I can't recommend the film.
Justine.
I really actually enjoyed the cinematography. Sam Mendes is reunited with Roger Deakins here, and I did feel it was beautifully shot. I came to the table already reading some of the reviews that condemned this movie, so I went in with limited expectations, but I actually was pleasantly surprised by all of those boxes that it's checking. To me, felt like a positive, because at least we're returning to the character-driven films that Mendes started with, but that were popular at this time that the film is taking place, that I think are so limited now.
The Banshees of Inisherin looks at a fractured longtime friendship and takes place on a small village off the coast of Ireland. Let's take a look at a clip.
Now, if I've done something to you, just tell me what I've done to you. And if I've said something to you, maybe I said something when I was drunk and I've forgotten it, but I don't think I said something when I was drunk and I've forgotten it. But if I did, then tell me what it was. And I'll say sorry for that too, Colin. With all my heart, I'll say sorry. Just stop running away from me like some fool of a moody schoolchild.
But you didn't say anything to me. You didn't do anything to me.
Well, that's what I was thinking, like.
I just don't like you no more.
Lisa, tell us about the Banshees of Inisherin.
Well, this is the second collaboration of Irish actors Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell with writer-director Martin McDonagh. This one is set on a 1923 isolated Irish island where local fiddler Gleeson suddenly declares he no longer likes his best friend, who's the cow herder, Colin Farrell. Technically, that is actually the whole story, except that the lengths that Gleeson will take to ensure that Farrell gives him his space are downright biblical, and they're deeply funny, and they're ultimately deeply heartbreaking. This is actually one of my favorite films of 2022. And
Why?
while some of the breathtaking cinematography and perfect plotting has a lot to do with the appeal, to me it is chemistry of these two master actors that really makes it.
I agree, and this is another one that's going to be in my top 10 list. And I'm going to
Absolutely.
urge you not to give away what happens to some of the people
I was
in
as
this,
subtle as I could
because
be,
I
and-
think it's a huge shock and very, very important
Okay.
to the
And
friendship
a big
here.
tonal shift.
I love this film. I think it's a masterclass in acting. The two of them seem to be having an incredible time trying to relate to each other. I can't recommend this enough. It is in my top 10 list this year.
I think there's a theme today with a lot of the films we're discussing of these sweeping, kind of isolated locations where something sinister and violent is boiling to the surface. But I think it's worth noting that at this time in Ireland, there was a civil war going on between the Free State and the IRA, and it feels that these characters actually embody some of the unrest that was going on. And
Smart. That makes so
really
much sense.
offers, a commentary on peacekeeping,
Yeah.
peace building, and just all of the
Really smart.
Okay, well, Gleason and Farrell are great, but also Kerry Condon, by the way, is terrific, and Barry Keoghan is also quite good, and they have a scene together, which is terrific. And there's a lot of small scenes and moments in this that are great. And Martin McDonagh knows how to write great dialogue, and he does. So I think from a plot standpoint, yes, there's some funny moments, but the fundamental premise of the whole thing just doesn't gel up with me, even though I like the dialogue, I like the scenes, and I like the acting. I think it's overrated. And we're going to really switch gears completely here. Bill, I want you to tell us about a documentary that actually won the Critics' Choice for Best Documentary.
Yeah, it won 5 awards at that.
Yeah, called Good Night Oppy.
Good Night Oppy. Also a film that made Steven Spielberg smile. Amblin Entertainment was part of the production behind this Ryan White-directed film about 2 probes that go to Mars and are supposed to last for 90 days and end up working for 15 years.
Yeah.
Now, that wouldn't make a documentary in and of itself if the people back here on Earth weren't following it with emotional backstories of their own. And I think this is going to go all the way at the Oscars. It's an incredibly well-told story. And Industrial Light and Magic actually took pictures of Mars and then recreated it, what it would look like. They'd never done that before. So there's a lot of breakthrough stuff happening in this story, and I find it just really rewarding.
You think it's a cheat, by the way. You think you're looking at Mars. You're just looking at CGI animation.
Correct, but it's all based on everything that that has been sent back by these real probes.
I think this is a genuinely moving film, and it's not just because of the premise of sort of beating the odds. It's also the empathy that this group started to have for each other and for an inanimate object, which is an interesting step in terms of our relationship to AI.
Right.
And it really weirdly is like a real-life version of that movie, The Martian, which I love. I will say I think it's too long, but I literally think every documentary made is too long. And I would also say, and this is just being real, I would not bother to watch it on a big screen because there's literally no payoff in terms of the production values. But I also think that about all documentaries.
Justine?
I think this was just a crowd pleaser. I mean, weeping over a documentary about robots was not on my bingo card, but I was so incredibly surprised. And really that poignant connection to the team on the ground is what anchors this. And I think it doesn't matter that it's created on a soundstage with George Lucas's company, because this is the way that literally you have to bring what happened to light, right? There isn't that direct cinematic footage from Mars that's accessible.
I'm surprised that none of you mentioned the fact that if you see the movie Wall-E, that Pixar had to be inspired by these rovers because they look almost identical to Oppy and Spirit, I believe was the name of the other one. The one, like you said, they were 90 days. One lasted 7 years, one lasted 15 years. But what's really moving here is the story of these NASA engineers who like anthropomorphize these things. They become like living objects. Okay, Justine, let's talk about Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery.
Well, this is the sequel to Rian Johnson's surprise hit, Knives Out, and it follows a group of friends, all of whom have very distinct personalities. You have Kate Hudson as a lifestyle guru, you have Janelle Monáe as a businesswoman, you have Leslie Odom Jr. as a scientist, you have Catherine Hahn as a politician, Dave Bautista as a men's rights YouTube activist. All of these contrasting personalities are flown to a private Greek island owned by a billionaire played by Edward Norton, who wants to host them for the weekend. And rejoining the story from the first film is Daniel Craig's character, Benoit Blanc. There's a series of fun events planned. What could go wrong except for murder? Murder. To give any more away would do a disservice to this film, which is filled with these fun surprises, twists and turns, and as the layers of the onion get peeled away and we discover more and more about what's really going on, it's such a treat.
You know what? I just love that the class warfare movie is the breakout genre of 2022, and I think this
on
one
TV and in
both
of them.
Exactly. And I think this one is just really deliciously bombastic. It's what I call the good kind of Netflix movie, where it's well executed, but it doesn't take itself too seriously. I love the cast. I think Janelle is like turning into being one of the biggest.
Janelle.
Yeah, Janelle Monáe is just unbelievable. She basically plays 2 roles here. She's so good. She's so good in everything, and I'm so glad that she finally got something that demonstrates all of what she's capable of. I love the cast in general, and I love the Agatha Christie homage. I went to an event with director Rian Johnson on the opening night of this, and he said he plans to keep on making these homages to Agatha Christie, and I honestly hope he does.
Look, he can keep making them, and obviously Daniel Craig is going to keep doing it. This is the next thing thing he wants to do after James Bond. He could make 10 or 15 of them, but they've got to be better than this one, and they can't be loaded down with all of these stories and plots and people.
Thank you.
Daniel
So
Craig. Daniel Craig is
supposed to be
alone.
like this.
He's alone in this giant Super Bowl of stupidity called the Glass Onion, which is literally a glass building that all of this happens in, and some of it gets broken. I was really disappointed in this because I like Daniel Craig, but he doesn't look like he's having as much fun in this one. And my real concern is that Elon Musk is going to see this and do it for real.
Unlike the first one, which I really liked, which the plot was a little confusing, but you could follow it, and Ana de Armas was terrific in that first one. I didn't care about any of the characters in this, and forget about following the plot. There's no way you could figure this out. The only thing I enjoyed in this was Daniel Craig, who seems to be having like a great time with this faux Southern accent.
He's out of control.
These,
the movie
these
has
weird
got too
robes
much going
and
on
stuff,
around him.
and playing like the antithesis of 007. And when he's on the screen, I enjoyed it. But so I'd say that only for fans of Knives Out, it's on. It'll be on Netflix. It's on Netflix.
I think this is like an amusement park ride of a movie, and you're supposed to just go with it and have fun and not project all this seriousness.
I think it's
on
an
it.
inferior version of White Lotus meets Agatha Christie.
You're an inferior version of White Lotus meets Agatha Christie.
And your IQ must be this low to ride this ride.
Who here has been a dummy shopper before? Raise your hand, but only if you've done it. So, for everybody else, listen up. In the next hour, you will make 200 cash. But you will have to do something illegal. You won't be endangered, you won't endanger another person, but you will be breaking the law. So if you're not cool with that, I get it. And you can go at any time. Can I keep going?
That was a clip from the movie Emily the Criminal, which I love, and it's Justine Browning's favorite movie of the year, as we go around the panel with our personal favorite films or TV series of 2022. Justine.
Yeah, well, this is a film that stars Aubrey Plaza as a woman who is struggling to pay off her student loans. She's at the mercy of the gig economy. She has an arrest from years back that's holding her back from getting any opportunities in the job market. And so she ends up turning to a life of crime, which consists of dummy shopping, which is shopping with stolen credit cards for luxury goods and then being a part of reselling them. But she quickly learns that this lifestyle comes with its own risks. I think this is a really smart social commentary on what one has to resort to when they're stripped of opportunities and the dangerous lengths that they have to go to support.
It's fun, it's surprising, it's suspenseful. Aubrey Plaza, props to her. She usually plays that smug, snarky character. She's completely different here. Bill talked about this a couple of months ago. Then you told me it's your favorite movie of the year, and I checked it out, and it's easily on near the top of my 10 best.
I can't remember a year when I've had one particular show in this series that all of my favorite movies were mentioned of. I love this. I loved her in Aubrey Goes West. I loved her in that Bear thing a couple of years ago where she was June
She's
up.
in
That
Parks and Rec.
Well, yeah, Parks and Rec. But this is a great showcase for her talent. I hope it wins some independent spirit.
Between this and White Lotus, she's going to elevate herself to the next level of star.
No, I feel like the Grinch who stole Emily, but honestly, I do not feel like this movie is insightful enough.
Come on.
No, given how grim it is, it better impart more insight into the human condition than it does. I love Aubrey, but just watch White Lotus season 2, man, if you want some good Aubrey for this year.
John Patton Ford, great directorial debut.
Baby, ixnay.
All right, anyway, let's move on. Bill, what is your best film of the year?
Well, it's a serious film called Till, and I don't know why it's not getting a lot more attention than it is. Whoopi Goldberg is one of the executive producers. She has a small part in it. This is about the horrific 1955 lynching of a young 14-year-old boy in Mississippi, and it's about really the mother who fights for him, that is played by Danielle Deadwyler. You can literally see the civil rights movement born on the shoulders of this woman. And I hope that she's nominated for an Oscar. She was overlooked for the Golden Globes. I don't think that'll happen at the Critics' Choice Awards. Till is one of the best movies, if not the best movie of the year.
Lisa, what's your favorite movie of the year?
It is RRR, which I just love. It's set in 1920s India before the country's independence from Britain. It pairs that country's biggest stars, which are Junior NTR and Ram Charan, as frenemies from either side of that bloody colonial divide. I honestly think this is the best action movie of the decade so far. It's the kind of movie that Hollywood wishes it could make at this point. It's so funny, it's so fierce, it's lion-hearted, it's unflagging in its stakes and pyrotechnics. And by the way, it is the best dance sequence of 2022. I have seen it 3 times on a big screen this year, and I honestly cannot wait to see it again.
Well, my best of the year pick is not a movie, but it's Shonda Rhimes' limited TV series, Inventing Anna. Using the fake name Anna Delvey, Russian-born Anna Sorkin is able to con members of New York's upper crust into believing that she's a German heiress with access to a substantial fortune. She uses her fake persona to worm her way into Manhattan's upper crust society, where she cons big banks, philanthropists, top financial advisors, and prestigious hedge funds out of hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash, goods, and services, all the while working towards her goal of opening up this exclusive private club on Park Avenue. The title character was played brilliantly by Julia Garner with a weird, mesmerizing accent, and this sociopath keeps getting away with this elaborate con until she doesn't.
I'm a boss. I'm trying to build a foundation, and I'm surrounded by a bunch of amateurs.
Anna Klumsky is the reporter trying to break the story, and it's not only a true story that's fascinating, but it's also extremely entertaining all along the way. Inventing Anna proves that if you present yourself in the right way, people will believe anything that you want them to believe.
I totally agree with you.
And you are proof of that every week on this show.
Your reviews are so basic.
No, but honestly, this was the year of the female long con artist in TV and film, and I honestly think this one and The Dropout were the best. Irresistible watching.
I think what you're tapping into there is the fact that these stories are about the people that are conned more so than it's about the perpetrator and what they want to believe and what they project onto these figures.
Oh, stop being such a drama queen. My father will wire you the money in the morning.
Stop worrying.
Run it to my
So
car.
boring and
You're
dramatic.
so dramatic.
Well, that's about all the time we have. I want to thank Bill McCuddy, Lisa Rossman, and Justine Browning. I'm Neil Rosen. Join us next time on Talking Pictures.